It's 19 hours GMT. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Joy News Prime. We are coming to you from our studios here at Koko Mlimle in Accra. We're also live on DSTV, Channel 421, GoTV 125. And around the world, we are on myjoyonline.com. I am Carlos Calori.
And I'm Faustina Safo. Tonight, Ghana's economy is on high alert as the country braces for the impact of the U.S.-Israel conflict with Iran on its oil imports, with Parliament's Energy Committee scheduling an emergency meeting with stakeholders over the issue.
Also tonight, government assures the safety and welfare of Ghanaians remains government topmost priority in the wake of dozens of travelers stranded in the Gulf states.
Also tonight, Ayawasu East voters are prioritizing jobs, better roads and tangible development as candidates make last-minute pitches, each insisting they'll emerge victorious in tomorrow's by-election.
Fearless and credible journalism.
A good time to take a seat and please be our guest.
Tonight, Ghana's economy is on edge as global oil prices surge due to escalating tensions between the United States, Israel, and Iran. The conflict threatens to disrupt oil supplies through the Strait of Hormuz, a vital shipping route carrying 20% of the world's oil and gas. Ghana, an oil importing country, is vulnerable to price shocks, and the National Petroleum Authority acknowledges that the country can't escape global price fluctuations. The NPA assures Ghanaians that fuel reserves are sufficient for several weeks, but Parliament's Energy Committee is taking precautionary measures, calling for an emergency meeting.
As we've said, Ghana will definitely be affected, just like any other country in the world. So the focus will be what plans we have in place to ensure that consumers do not lack fuel for the economy to run. So as you asked, what is Ghana's current stock level of petroleum products? As of last Friday, we have diesel stocks to last us over 5 weeks. Estimated roughly, it will last us up to 5.3 weeks. And then for petrol, we have almost 7 weeks, 6.8 weeks to last. And this is something that we monitor all the time. If you know that for a country like Ghana, which is a net importer, even without this war, we always ensure that we have a plan to make petroleum products available for consumers in the country. And so this is not something that is being done because of the war, but it's something we do on the regular. It's one of NPA's major mandates to ensure that petroleum products are always available. So as of Friday, like you've said, the last monitoring that we did, petrol again will last us up to almost 7 weeks, 6.8 weeks, and diesel will last us about 5.3 weeks. But just to add that this does not mean that we don't have imports coming in. We discharge petroleum products almost every day in this country. So we have a plan where almost every day discharge of petroleum products have been done. That is for the imported products.
Parliament is not taking chances despite the assurances. The Deputy Ranking Member on the Energy Committee, Collins Adumako Mensah, tells Joy News the committee will hold an emergency meeting with the NPA and key stakeholders to review the measures to reduce the potential impact of rising fuel prices on Ghanaians.
Well, my chairman has just intimated to me that it's likely we are going to have an emergency meeting with the power players, with the players in the industry. NPA, I'm sure, is going to be summoned by Tuesday or Wednesday to come and meet the committee alongside the Ministry of Energy to come and explain to us what this whole war means to us. And the question you put to me, I'm sure I'm going to put the same question to them when they come to us. They are the technical people. They should explain to us what the implications are, although we have a fair idea that is going to lead to some price increases. This brings to the fore the issue about TOR, and I'm excited that TOR is now running. I mean, not at the full capacity, but it has started some operations. We have to have a very serious policy discussion with oil producers. We produce oil now in Ghana. What do we do in situations like this? Can we, as a matter of urgency, have a meeting with them to see whether we can quickly refine quite a number of it here in Ghana, so we can be assured of some supply. These are all policy direction that must be taken by the ministry. But as I said, it's likely we are going to have a meeting with officials of NPA and the Ministry of Energy on Wednesday for them to throw more light on it for us.
Well, Ghana has faced similar oil price volatility before, and experts warn that without structural changes, history could repeat itself. The country's reliance on imported refined petroleum products make it susceptible to global price changes, affecting transportation, food, and, of course, essential services. Let's get the latest update about the situation from our research team, and Caleb Ziblim joins us in studio. Caleb, first of all, help us appreciate the root cause of this particular situation, what is actually driving the price, changes.
Yes, Carlos, so, it's a conflict between Israel and Iran, both in the Middle East. And then because of the way the Middle East is situated, almost all the countries here are oil-producing countries. Now, even though the conflict is between these two countries, Iran has decided to rope in some of the other Middle Eastern countries because they are aligned with the U.S., whereby the U.S. has assets or bases. Iran has decided to strike in those countries. We have Iran taking operations in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. So all these countries I've mentioned are oil-producing countries. And all of them depend on this narrow stretch of ocean over here called the Strait of Hormuz, we were talking about earlier. So majority of the countries pass through here with their oil products. So Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai, Oman, they all use this narrow stretch. And it constitutes about 20% of global oil supply.
Right.
So once this entire region is unstable or in the conflict, oil production here is going to take a hit. And in fact, we have indications today that the Iranians have struck a processing plant in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar. This is already driving up gas prices in the European countries. And Europe, they rely on gas a lot because of how cold the weather is. So once the Europeans are feeling the pinch, the plan from the Iranians is that once Europeans and other countries not directly tied to the war are feeling some discomfort, they will urge the U.S. to back away from Israel. And then
so that's how it's going to affect countries in Europe. What about Africa and specifically Ghana? How is this likely to affect us?
So mainly in Africa, it's about the crude oil prices. Now, after the news broke, it was on Friday. Friday, crude oil was trading at $72 per barrel. Now, over the weekend, there's no trading. So the price of crude oil stayed at $70 per barrel during the weekend. But on Monday, when the markets opened, it went up to $78 per barrel.
Wow.
Now, analysts were expecting this to go even higher, to about $90 or $100 per barrel. But then currently, it's between $77, $78, and maybe sometimes $79 per barrel. Now, for context, when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, it went up to $78 per barrel. And that's where we saw Ghana entering the crisis. But then the difference this time around is that Ghana's currency is very strong. So ideally, or in other situations, when crude oil prices goes up very high, we feel the pinch immediately. But then because the currency is doing very well, currently $1 goes for 10 cedis, 60 pesos, and gold is also doing very well in international markets. Once gold is doing very well, it means the Ghanaian cedis will do very well. So the impact is not going to be felt like the way we saw it in the Russia-Ukraine scenario. But again, the price of crude oil has gone up. It's currently about $77 per barrel. And if the conflict goes on for the next few months or for a few weeks, this price should go up even further because currently the analysts and the market players are saying that, we've seen this before. Because if you remember in 2025, just last year, Israel struck Iran again and they killed some generals in Iran.
Right.
When that happened, price of crude oil again went up over here sharply. It went up, but then it came down for the rest of the year. So people are used to this kind of tensions and uncertainty in the Middle East, so they don't immediately price it in when the markets open. But then if the tensions goes on for a couple of weeks, we should see that this goes up more than the $78 per barrel I see now. And then once that happens, it directly impacts the Ghanaian economy.
Thank you so much, Kele, for those details.
Well, Carlos, let's explore this further. Join us now via Zoom is CEO of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Rivers Inopong. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. With crude oil prices rising globally, how soon do we expect an increment at the pumps? At least within your next pricing window, should we expect an increment?
Right. Good evening, and to you and your listeners. Yeah, I mean, let's not believe that with the current window that we in now, that started from the 1st of March to the 15th of March, you're going to see any significant increase or even any changes at all, if they could even be. You understand? We are very grateful to having, a bi-weekly pricing window in this country. In that the pricing window for the next selling window will start from the 16th of this month, begins soon. And like the reporter already said, the pricing got frozen and started today. We are all hoping, for sure, no doubt, that this war would end as soon as possible to avert any kind of upsurge in prices in the coming weeks. Personally, I'm hoping that the prices will not hit above $90, which will not be the usual nuances whereby, for example, crude oil price will go up and Platts and ICE will remain the same or even go down. We are lucky again to say that we're not going to be so much affected with supply security, but for price increase, for sure, is something that we cannot run away from. Should this war, still persist for more than a week? In next week, around Wednesday, Thursday, and we still have these conditions in place, the chamber will be happy to conclude on how the next pricing window will be like. But as it stands today, it's still going to be speculation upon speculation, and let's avoid that.
Well, we've heard from the NPA, and they say that Ghana currently has enough fuel in our reserves to last us for close to 7 weeks. If this war should run for more than that period, if you like, months, how do you plan to mitigate the impact? You say supply is not a challenge. What avenues are you looking at?
Right. Every Monday and Tuesday we reconcile with NPA, and we do have access to all the petroleum products in terms of volumes that we have in the country. Should we even assume that the entire oolages, as we call it, or the entire storage we have in the country are filled with diesel and petrol? Believe me or not, with the current demand we have in Ghana, we cannot sustain the supply security. I mean, the demand for more than 10 weeks. Within 10 weeks, every fuel we have in this country will go down. So like I said initially, we do not have fuel dependency in this particular region. All right, most of our fuels come from the western corridors of the energy market, and that's a blessing we have. Dangote could be another kind of option for Ghana, but however, Dangote will not choose to sell cheaply to Ghana because we are neighbors, and prevent selling to the Asian market like China, who are now going to depend on other sources of fuel. Okay. Because remember, the 550,000 barrels of crude oil refinery that has been shut down in Saudi Arabia normally would supply diesel and petrol to the Asian market. And now they're going to depend on other sources of fuel. And Dangote could even be a possible, market. However, we do have hopes that we do not be entangled with supply security. Okay. But the question today has to do with the hikes in prices that Ghana is going to bear.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Riverson, for your time here on Joy News Prime.
Well, still on the conflict, the Foreign Affairs Minister has assured that the safety and welfare of Ghanaians remain government topmost priority, even though evacuation plans remain unknown. There are reports of several Ghanaians stranded in the United Arab Emirates following a sudden airspace shutdown across parts of the Gulf. Among those affected are players of the Black Queens and popular blogger Zion Felix. The closures came after U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran triggered widespread flight cancellations, grounding operations at major airports in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Doha. Airlines, including Emirates and Etihad Airways, have extended suspensions as tensions remain high. leaving thousands of international travelers unable to return home. First, let's listen to head of Joy Sports here, Fentio Tahiru. Fentio, paint a picture of the Black Queen situation in that country.
The team arrived in the UAE on Wednesday, just last Wednesday, for a tournament called the Pink Ladies Cup. It's an annual competition. It's made up of 4 teams. It's an invitational tournament. And they were invited to participate in the competition alongside Russia, Hong Kong, and Tanzania. And they were supposed to use that game as a preparatory, or that tournament as a preparatory competition ahead of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, which starts on the 17th of March, so later this month. And so the team went there on Wednesday, 25 players with 16 officials, and they played their first game on Saturday. That was yesterday against Hong Kong. They won that game by 4-0. Then later in the evening, after the match, the escalating tensions resulted in the reports that we saw, with several aspects or several areas in Dubai reportedly bombed by Iranian missiles. Now, the team is lodged at the Sheraton Hotel, 4 Seasons. Is at a city called Sharjah, but that city is slightly just outside of Dubai, also on the coast, and it's not exactly in the center of Dubai. But players that we spoke to this morning indicated that they could see smoke bellowing from a distance about 10 or 15 meters away, and they've been told to pack up all of their baggage in preparations for possible evacuation. As we know, the entire airspace of the UAE is closed, and all flights inbound and outbound are grounded.
Well, we can now listen to blogger Felix Adumaku-Mensah, popularly known as Zion Felix. He is stranded currently as we speak in Dubai. His plans to fly to London got disrupted by the development.
I saw a statement with contacts that we should call, but nobody has contacted us. In fact, I've had conversations with other Ghanaians, and none of them has mentioned that the embassy has contacted them. But I saw a statement online with contact details that we should call in case we need any help. Sunday around 12:04 midnight, I had alarm. Twice on my phone, and when I woke up in the morning, I was informed that there were some missiles in the air, and that is why we had those alarms. And then it comes with a notification. It is written in Arabic, and then they translate it into English that you should find shelter elsewhere. Go to places that there's no window and all that. So yes, Sunday midnight, I had alert on my phone. But this dawn, I've not had anything on my phone. After that alert, I've not had any other alert on my phone again.
Some Ghanaians have been reacting to the war. Many say that they are worried about the broader economic and security implications of a prolonged conflict. My colleague Michelle Latte has been speaking to some of them. Listen.
It's a cause of worry because whatever affects other countries eventually tends to affect us. And I think this is one of the countries that is a major producer of oil, and so, or let's say petroleum products. And so something like that wouldn't help us as Ghanaians. And so we are anticipating that the cost of living will be very high if this thing should continue. Because everything fuel is everything commodity, is everything our lives. So I don't think it's the best.
I really don't have any, this war is been silent for a long time, so there's no surprise that now it has erupted. But certainly it will have an impact on not just our country, Africa as a continent, and already I know oil prices have shot up because of this war. It depends on how long it continues. The more it continues, the more hardships it will be for not just Africa, even in Europe. We pray that it will end quick so that the world comes back to normalcy, because certainly world trade will be affected because oil is the driver of all the economies of the world. So for me, I hope and pray that it will end soon so that we can have our peace of mind. Yeah, certainly, and I think that Donald Trump, he likes war too much. He should tone down. More negotiations and sitting at the table and talking, it will be more effective than showing how strong you are. And
talk of in Ghana, it can be huge because anything that is having effect around the whole world, and looking at Africa, ours should be more because Africa, we mostly depends on the outside world, and if there is a challenge somewhere which is having effect everywhere, I think Africa, we are in trouble. Yes, I'm worried. I'm worried because anything happening somewhere, even though it's not closer to you, you have to be worried.
The
US is a powerful country many nations look up to, but if it continues with the conflict, we will feel the effects. Some believe its military strength gives it advantage, but I think leaders must come together to negotiate and allow peace to prevail.
For peace to reign.
Well, away from Iran, voters in Ayawasu East say they want jobs, better roads and visible development as candidates make their final push in a by-election. All aspirants insist they can win. With less than 24 hours to polls opening, the contest has intensified even as fresh polls from Global Info Analytics tips the NDC's Baba Jamal as favorite in the election. The NDC's Baba Jamal faces Baba Ali Yusuf of the New Patriotic Party, Ibrahim Idrisu of the Liberal Party of Ghana, and two independent candidates. There's more in the following report.
With security tightened and final preparations underway, Ayawasu East votes in less than 24 hours. In the by-elections, all aspirants believe they can win. The National Democratic Congress will be represented by Ghana's former High Commissioner to Nigeria, Baba Jamal Mohammed Ahmed, Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the National Democratic Congress, Rashid Tanku Computer, says the race is a clear victory for the NDC.
The Ayawasu East people are very much satisfied with the performance of the NDC. Do you know that that constituency is predominantly a Muslim-dominated constituency? Tell me, 8 years. What did they do for them? They made sure that even going to Hajj, which is one of the pillars of Islam, they needed to pay more than almost 80,000 Ghana cedis to get to Mecca. Why? You want to kill them?
Although the seat has long been considered an NDC stronghold, the New Patriotic Party insists this by-election could mark a historic turnaround for the party in the constituency.
We think that, well, as it is, if we are able to get our members out to vote in their numbers tomorrow, because you agree with me that usually during by-elections, the turnout is normally very low. And so from what we have done, if we are able to get even 65% turnout tomorrow, we are likely to pull a surprise.
But constituents say beyond party colours, they want jobs, improved infrastructure and visible development from the next member of parliament.
We are engulfed in filth all around us. So I would like the elected MP to tackle that one first.
We must also look at equipping youth with skills. And there are people who already have what they do. They have a trade. As I said, we are standing in the market. If this market is transformed to become an ultra-modern market, it becomes beneficial not only for us, but for the entire constituency.
A lot of unemployment among the youth. So I plead with him to look at that sector.
For the officiating body for the exercise, the Electoral Commission of Ghana, it is fully ready for tomorrow's polls. Fred Tete is Director of Research at the Electoral Commission.
And ballot boxes, everything that goes with the election process tomorrow are ready. Personnel are ready as well. I'm talking about the 455 recruited staff that are going to man the polling stations. And we're talking about 113 polling stations in this case.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service says it will deploy over 80 police personnel across all electoral areas within the constituency.
Away from that, the coalition of unpaid newly posted staff of the Ghana Education Service is expressing frustration over months of unpaid salaries, missing staff identification numbers, and unexplained changes to their assumption of duty dates. The teachers say the delays have made it increasingly difficult to cope with the rising cost of living. There's more in the following report.
Posted teachers say some members have worked for months without staff IDs or salaries. They say some unexplained changes to assumption of duty dates are also affecting the arrears owed them. The group stormed the NAT office today to demand urgent action.
We have members who are still working without staff IDs, and a larger number of us who have also worked for 17 months without salary, even though with staff ID. Others who have gone 10 months, 12 months, 14 months with salaries in arrears. Some people have their assumption of duties changed. We were recruited in September and then November 2024 respectively. In fact, some of them have their assumption of duties changed to November 2025.
According to them, calls to NAT and other associations have gone unanswered.
Since the fight of this battle, we've been working all along by ourselves. And to our surprise, the very association or the very body whose core mission is to ensure the welfare of teachers, we think we have been neglected, we have been discarded. In fact, we are undervalued.
The teachers say nurses received a clear payment plan after the recent aggregation, but teachers have not.
There's a letter out. Ministry of Health has brought the letter out. Ministry of Finance, who is very aware that he owes teachers, has also brought a payment plan out for only nurses. Are we not part? Are we not providing critical services?
Some teachers described how the delays have affected them.
I have 3 children, so rent, school fees, light bill, water bill, and I've been working for 14 months.
People working without staff ID, without salary. I don't know whether they care. They don't care. That is what I'm seeing. They don't care.
It has been a problem and a headache. People do not sleep at night, and people have been owing a lot of people. Because of this, people have borrowed monies that they were not supposed to borrow.
We're heavily always calling people and asking for mobile money, which is an insult to our very personality.
The frustrated teachers warned that if the issues are not addressed, they would hold a legal demonstration in the coming weeks.
In the coming weeks, we shall hold a mega demonstration to show our displeasure to the government, because this is not a fair treatment to we as Ghanaians. And we demand that justice must be served.
NAT has asked the newly posted teachers to submit a formal petition so it can follow up with authorities on their unpaid salaries and missing staff IDs. For Joy News, Evelyn Ampa's report read to you.
Still on education, Deputy Education Minister Clement Apak has warned students involved in rising violence in senior high schools that they will face serious consequences, including arrest and imprisonment. He made a statement while honoring top BEC performers at the Education Ministry here in Accra, emphasizing zero tolerance for hooliganism.
Deputy Education Minister Clement Apak congratulated the top 2025 BEC performers at the Ministry of Education, urging them to stay committed to excellence. He warned that hooliganism will not be tolerated, with consequences including jail terms.
Mine is a very short and straight assignment, which is to appreciate you and to encourage you. If you look at the number of students who sat for the 2025 BEC, and you consider the fact that those of you here today, 52, have been selected based on your competence and your performance, it gives us reason to be joyful. Be motivated, focus on your studies, stay away from bad company and bad behavior. We are not happy with the hooliganism, the lawlessness, and indeed the misconduct that we are recording in some secondary schools. Please stay away from such behavior. Conduct yourselves properly and focus on your studies. And let your colleagues know that those who would refuse to conduct themselves properly, those who would misbehave, those who would be lawless, those who would engage in acts of criminality will be dealt with. Minister has given us the marching orders. The president has given us his blessing that they must be disciplined in our secondary schools. So if you misconduct yourself, you will be arrested, you will be prosecuted, and you may go to jail and also lose the opportunity to realize your dream.
Dr. Park reaffirmed the government's commitment to addressing education challenges, highlighting initiatives like a 20% rural teacher incentive and sanitary pad distribution to boost attendance and outcomes.
You may have.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. We will be back after this quick term. Please stay with us.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Joy News Prime.
To other stories now, preparations are underway at the Heavyweight Champion International Ministry headed by Patricia Isiama, widely known as Agrada, who has been in prison since July last year. Convicted on multiple charges, including charlatanic advertisement and defrauding by false pretense, the trial court initially handed her a 15-year sentence with hard labor. Last month, the Amasaman High Court upheld her conviction but reviewed the punishment, ruling that the original sentence was excessive and disappropriately administered under the circumstances. Well, her prison term has been reduced to 12 months, we know now, and a fine of 2,400 Ghana cedis was given. Based on the revised sentence, she has now been made eligible for readmission under standard policy and is now set for release tomorrow, according to a lawyer, Richard Asare. And we are expecting that church service will commence this weekend. Well, my colleague Hannah Odami was at her church to gauge the mood prior to her release, and she filed this report.
With each stroke of brush, the outer auditorium of the Heavenway Chapel International Ministries gradually blossomed, the workers feverishly transforming the faded colored blue and white walls with new paint. The arrival of founder of the church, Evangelist Patricia Isiama, is just hours away, and she will indeed be welcomed in grand style. That's according to the church members who declined speaking for now. They are fixing broken roofs, non-functional electricals, rearranging wall hangings, and cleaning the woolen carpeted floors. It shall be a glorious celebration when Patricia Isiama walks in here after her release. For Joy News, I am Hannah Odame.
Well, in the Basley Zongo communities of Sekondi Takoradi, rising temperatures are turning homes into ovens. The combination of climate change, poor housing design, and limited ventilation is creating unbearable indoor heat and putting lives at risk. The most vulnerable, children and elderly and pregnant women, are feeling the heat the hardest. Prince Owusu Asiedu has more in today's climate evidence read to you.
Ghana's climate strategies recognize the dangers of global warming, but the threat of indoor heat in low-income communities often goes unnoticed. In Sekondi Takoradi Zongo, cramped buildings and limited airflow are often compounding the crisis. Resident Teresa Baini says the problem is deeply rooted in poor urban planning.
Buildings are packed tight, blocking breeze. Wood fires for cooking make the heat worse.
For many families, coping with heat has become a daily struggle. Trader Balikisu Dauda explains that she keeps her children cool by wiping them down with wet towels, but says the elderly are often left to endure the heat with little relief.
The heat is harsh, causing rashes and making kids uncomfortable. We most of the times use wet towels to cool them down, trying to help them sleep.
The Sekondi Metropolitan Assembly says it's aware of the growing concern. The Metropolitan Development Planning Officer and Climate Change Focal Point, Abu Mohammed, says the Assembly is taking steps to reduce the impact of extreme heat, especially in communities like European Town, where many women cook using traditional cooking methods.
Particularly in the Zongos, you realize that the buildings are mostly joined together. It is not like a new settlement where there's ventilation. So technically, it will generate heat.
A recent study by Ebenezer Mankwa of the University of Ghana paints a worrying picture. It shows that extreme indoor temperatures in Sekondi Takoradi Zongo communities are worsening residents' health. Amankwa recommends stronger climate-responsive housing policies that focus on ventilation, thermal comfort and affordable cooling for low-income urban dwellers. His finding echoes Ghana National Adaptation Plan and nationally determined contribution goals, both calling for urgent climate action that safeguard public health.
We have installed heat detection devices in rooms and hospitals. For setup, position windows to face each other and orient buildings to allow wind flow, reducing heat impact.
As temperatures continue to rise, the heat inside the efforts by the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly are a positive step, but expect one that lasting solution will require bold housing reforms and stronger climate resilience measures to protect those most at risk.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
Well, producers of one of Ghana's favorite snacks on the market, Mini-Me, have launched the Laugh It Off Creator Challenge in Accra. The 3-week initiative aims to support content creators to produce humorous content featuring the Mini-Me snack. The ultimate winner will receive a brand ambassadorial deal, an iPhone 17 Pro Max, and other prizes. Nancy Kumsin has more in this report.
The launch of the Mini-Me Achomo Laugh It Off Creator Challenge brought together scores of digital creators who networked and created content while engaging with the brand. The producers of the Mini-Me Achomo Multi-Pro Ghana Limited says the initiative is part of efforts to support the growing content creation economy in Ghana. Brand manager Kafui Agbenyefia says the company wants to give young creators the platform and tools to grow.
And then to create content which connects meaningfully with the brand, where they can see Mini-Me Achomo in it. So yes, that is the reason why we are creating the content, the Laugh It Off Creator Challenge.
She added that the challenge is also about building a stronger connection between the brand and its audience through humor. She also shared some prizes to be awarded and how creators can join the challenge.
We see that the creator economy is expanding. We see the Ghanaian youth trying to create employment for themselves by exploring this sector. So Mini-Me as a brand says, okay, why don't I bridge this gap? Why don't I give the youth opportunities? Why don't I give them the necessary gadgets that they would need to explore this sector? Right? So it is why Mini-Me Achomo is here today to launch this Laugh It Off Creator Challenge, because we say we believe in our youth. We as a brand want to give back to the society, to give our youth opportunities so that they can also create employment for themselves. You stand a chance to win iPhone 17 Pro Max, the latest DJI Osmo, and a brand ambassadorial deal with the brand, and many more gifts.
Multi-Pro Ghana Limited says it expects strong participation over the 3-week period as it looks to identify and support the next wave of Ghanaian digital creators through the Laugh It Off Creator Challenge. Nancy Kumse's report read to you.
Well, President John Dramani Mahama has delivered his second State of the Nation address since returning to power for his second term. For the second consecutive time, he wore the same smock. Coincidence or calculated signal of continuity for his reset agenda in 2025? Well, my colleague Emmanuel Jiveno has more.
President John Dramani Mahama in recent times has consistently worn the smock, also known as fugu or batakari, at major national and international events. At his first address to the United Nations General Assembly after returning to power, he appeared in fugu. During his state's visit to Zambia in February, he wore fugu, a decision that sparked conversation across diplomatic and public spaces. His first State of the Nation address in 2025 also featured the traditional attire. This year, the president appears once again in a fugu, strikingly similar in design to the one he worn previously, this time paired with a cap. The repetition is noticeable. Is this simply wardrobe continuity, or does it signal something deeper?
President repeating the same dress is to show consistency, continuity, and ability to continue where he started from in the last year.
As we build on the foundation laid in 2025, the first year of my return to the presidency, we do so with clarity of purpose, unity of action, and confidence in our ability to deliver a future worthy of our people's sacrifice and their aspirations. I can say to you with confidence, Ghana is back.
Historian Kweku Dako Ankra says political attire in Ghana often carries deliberate meaning.
It is a reassurance about his constituency that nothing else will distract him and that he is ready to continue the way he intends to captain the ship of nation into its safety as he promised when he won the elections.
Our nation is on the runway. It is in takeoff mode. And you are all advised to fasten your seat belts.
By returning in the same symbolic attire, the president reinforces the message that the policy direction remains unchanged, that the agenda is ongoing.
These measures have begun to deliver some of the most remarkable economic outcomes in decades.
So the president is trying to use this dressing symbol as an evocative way of reassurance, of consistency, of his own humility.
During my recent trip to Zambia, we saw what a united Ghana can achieve on the global stage. It showed a nation that understands its brand equity. If we can mobilize that same collective resolve for our development agenda, we will see real progress.
By consistently wearing the fugu at major national and international platforms, President John Dramani Mahama elevates Ghanaian heritage and increased visibility for local craftsmanship. The repeated display strengthens demand for locally woven textiles, supports tailors, weavers, and contribute to job creation along the textile value chain. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Accra.
It's time for Showbiz, and Becky's in the studio. Hi, Becky.
Hello to you, Fosti.
Hi, how are you doing?
Happy New Month.
I know, right?
Happy Ghana Month.
Thank you.
I'm sure Joy Prime will do the best of the celebrations. We'll support from here, Joy News. But this evening, we're telling you all about Ghana Month and everything that you missed at the weekend. We don't do
Oh, Ghana!
Ghana, that's it. Welcome to the Ghana Month, the month of March. This is the month set aside to celebrate everything Ghanaian, from the food, the clothes, language, music, and dance. Yes, this is Ghana Month. Ghana Month, they issue. Mie zolo the Ghana Month ever do miakata. Mie Ghana Month celebrating Lafia. Welcome to Ghana Month Akwaba. Ma obi biara akwaba ma eba Ghana Month we mu. Eda mo nyina sesa mo age bre a mode ebetie. So speaking of music, let's talk about the Bobobo dance and songs. Yes. Luckily for us, we have a Fajina Bobobo band who is on standby to give us a brief background of what the dance and songs are all about. And guess what? It means more than just twerking.
Bobobo. Bobo in Ewe means go down.
Koto.
Yes. So the dance is basically about going down.
Okay.
It's set to celebrate victory after war. Okay. So when they come back from war and there's victory, Bobo was set to celebrate the warriors.
Dance of celebration.
Yes, to celebrate the warriors. So you know the young maidens, they come around, dance in celebration.
Okay.
Yeah, to celebrate the victory they came home with.
Okay.
So Bobo means go down.
Go down.
So that is why we have the trumpet to ginger, to give you that vibe that there's time for you to go down.
Go down.
And then celebrate our warriors. So that's how it started. Twerking has nothing to do with Bobobo.
Okay.
Twerking is on its own. I don't know anything about twerking, but Bobobo has nothing
to do with
twerking.
Okay. Look forward to is the Ghana Fest 2026 coming off from the 20th to the 22nd of March. So if you're a vendor out there, this is your opportunity to sell and make made in Ghana money. I'm telling you. So get in touch with the Joy Prime team and let us know it's all about the Ghana Fest.
Michael B. Jordan ending the show for us. I'm shy.
Please, we're done. We're done. Bye-bye. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs.